Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Autogefühl. Today with me and Jonas. I am here in Hockenheimring for the ADAC GT Masters race weekend. I'm going to be talking to the racing team, I'm going to be talking to the race car drivers, a special interview with Benny regarding the Clubsport S and the Nurburgring record, and not to mention, we're going to take a ride in the TCR GTI car itself. Are you interested? Come on, let's go! We are here at the TCR ADAC GT Masters race. This is the first race of this weekend. Let's just go check out the cars real quick. They're at the starting grid on the racetrack. The race is about to start in a couple minutes. Let's just check out some of the cool cars. There's the Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR. This car has 350 horsepower, so a considerable bump up from the current GTI that you usually get. Some older Civic Type Rs. There's something so exciting about a race weekend. I love the atmosphere. Everybody's so excited. There's so much of electricity, the smell of burning rubber and petrol, the loud noises. It's a great weekend. Let's take a quick peek at the TCR GTI race car on track as it's getting ready to go. We have a very wide bumper in the rear, of course. The tires are jutting out. The track has been increased. It's running on slick tires. The weather is really warm today, sunny. The track is also dry. Not much oil on the track either. Side skirts, and look at the rims. These rims are quite large. They look about 20 inches. And the radials, and then as we go further down towards the front, a diffuser in the front for the bumper, the splitter. I think the race is about to start soon, so we better get out of the way. Well, unfortunately, the race had to be cut short. But anyway, before we start talking to the TCR GTI racing team, let's take a look at the GTI car family. Here we have the Mark I VW Golf GTI from 1975. This is where it all began, the original hot hatch. This is Genesis right here. And it still, even today, looks so menacing and cool. I just love how everything is just black body paint, black bumpers, and of course the classic red detailing on the frame around the headlights. It looks subtle, but if you knew what this was back then, I'm sure it was really exciting to see one coming down the street. Again, on the side, clean, simple lines, just one design line which goes all the way across. Of course, if you've watched our channel often, you know a lot about this car already. We have covered all the Golf generations. It's a pretty interesting video to check it out. And let's hop inside, shall we? Very minimal dashboard again, but still just what you need. You have a manual 5-speed gearbox, analog tachometer, analog speedometer, fabric seats. Unfortunately, this car does not have the classic tartan seats, but still, regardless, really cool. Not much space in the back, but hey, you don't want to be carrying extra weight around. Speaking of weight, this Mark I Golf weighs just under 900 kilograms. And let's see what powers this beast, shall we? Let's pop open the hood. No, there we go. Again, back here, back then, no turbochargers, none of that fancy, silly stuff. A cable-operated throttle over here, and naturally aspirated engine. No plastic covering on the engine bay, so you can see everything there, and it's really cool. Of course, you can see that it's mounted transversely, and the engine is significantly offset towards the right-hand side of the engine bay. But yeah, who cares about torque steer? From the humble beginnings of the Mark I Gran Turismo injection GTI, we come here to the Clubsport S GTI. This is the most hardcore and the most powerful Golf GTI ever. It has a 2-liter turbo 4 engine, the same block as the other GTIs, but here it's been cranked up to make 310 horsepower. And it all still goes through the front wheels. So this car is a really track-focused car. There's not much in the way of any frills and luxuries inside. There's not even a back seat. It's just a roll cage. But you get this only with a 6-speed manual. I think that's the way God intended it to be, so I will take it that way as well. Sport seats, of course. And yeah, too bad. If you need somebody to, if you want to drive somebody around, get the regular GTI. Don't look over here. And that brings us to this, the monster, the big daddy of them all, the Golf GTI TCR with 350 horsepower. This is the competition spec Golf GTI. I mean, it just oozes menace and sinister intentions. It's got the same red lining that is classic for the GTI around the headlights. But of course, this looks so much more different than the Mark I GTI that we just saw earlier. I mean, look at the size of this airbox and this air filter. Carbon fiber, mind you. There's no other way to have it. And of course, you gotta close this with the pins. Takes a little bit of skill to do it with one hand, like I am trying to. If I'm gonna be working as a mechanic on the pit stop lane, I need to improve my skill. But here's the tag to tow the car. A large carbon fiber diffuser in the front. You can hear the cars in the background. It's getting really loud. Again, slicks, because, well, it's a track car, and depending on the track conditions, we can change it to semi-slicks or wet tires. Today at this, the track is fairly dry, so I think all the cars are running on slick tires. And of course, it's a lot wider. There's a body kit to channel the air around the wheels. The track is wide to give better grip. So tell me, which of the 3 Golf GTIs do you pick? Which one would you want to drive away with? Put it down in the comments below. And when you look at the size of this rear wing, it goes through the rear window. I mean, it's so big. I could probably eat dinner off of this. It's made out of aluminum, not carbon fiber. But I think for a front-wheel drive car, it's fairly essential to have a lot of grip on the rear as well, because the engine is in the front, the driven wheels are on the front. It can tend to a lot of understeering, so this really helps out. Well, getting inside is quite tricky. I'm going to have to lose a little bit more weight if I want to be a race car driver. But you have the race steering wheel, which can detach quite easily. I don't want to try it right now. Of course, just very minimal buttons. A very minimal dashboard just to give you your speed, a proper racing seat which completely hugs you, so there's no way you can move out of it. 3-point harness, and I'm going to say this is the handbrake. Yes, it is, because you have the gearbox lever over there, so it's not a sequential gearbox, it's the regular DSG, of course tuned, and this is the handbrake and the pedals down there. Of course, the car has been stripped. There's absolutely no sound insulation. There is just this small hollow plastic on the dashboard, a roll cage in the back. So I can imagine this car is really loud. Okay, so I'm taking a taxi lap in the Golf GTI. I'm here with the man Benjamin Leuchter. He's the one who broke the record for the Nurburgring with, as you saw, 7:49.21 with this very GTI Clubsport S. So Benny, Can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to achieve such a fantastic time on the Nurburgring with essentially a car that people could have gone and bought, in the showroom?
Yeah, first of all, we have to say that it takes a long time to develop that car. So it was not a standard GTI. We tried to rebuild the car, so we put a lot of thoughts into the suspension. Then we tried to reduce the weight of the original GTI, and of course we tried to increase the horsepower. At least this car got 310 brake horsepower. At this time it was the strongest Golf you could buy. Right now the Golf R came to that to that spec. But at least it was those three things who made it possible to do this fantastic time on the Nürburgring.
Okay, and how close do you think this GTI Clubsport S is to the TCR GTI, the race car?
Oh yeah, it's very close. So we have many parts of that car in our TCR racing car. So you can say those two are brothers. Yeah, we try to take the series production car and produce a racing car from that. Basically, the engine is exactly the same. Yeah, so it's the EA 888 from our car. Then the steering rack is exactly the same. And of course, you can say the suspension from that car is at least more direction, similar, okay, to the racing to the racing thing. As you can see, if we can come around, also the brakes, what we put on this car, the performance brake, are a little bit bigger compared to the really normal GTI. Right now it's possible to order that brakes also in the Golf R, the new model.
Fantastic. So if I wanted to become a TCR driver, then I gotta get myself one of these.
Of course. To start with, it's always a perfect thing to start with a series production car. But at least we've got just 400 pieces worldwide from this beautiful car.
Well, better luck next time for me then. Thank you so much, Benny. See you around.
Thank you, bye.
I'm here with Luca Engsler, the winner of the Rookie Championship here at the TCR event. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
So maybe you can tell our viewers, how did you get into becoming a race car driver? It's probably a dream for many people like us.
Maybe some of you know my dad, Franz Engsler. Since I'm young, I'm always on the track with my family in the motorhome. So I don't was in kindergarten or something like that, only on the racetrack, And then I started karting with 8 years. Went then on the real kart racetrack. Afterward, I done the Formula 4 with Mick Schumacher, and now I'm here at TCR, the TCR Middle East. Won my first touring car race in Dubai, and now I won the championship.
That is fantastic. Very impressive CV so far for somebody so young. So, what does your regular, training routine look like in a regular week before the season?
Yeah, normally I have to say I'm still in school, high school I do now. I make practice. I try to do fitness and gym every day. And then when gym is finished, we have test days on the racetrack, And I try to push as hard as possible to get over the race, Yeah.
So where do you see yourself going in the next 4 years, 5 years in terms of your racing career?
My next step is next year I will also do the TCR Germany and TCR Middle East. I will do some 24-hour races in Dubai and Nurburgring. And the plan or the goal is for 2019 it is the GT Masters here. So the big ones.
Oh, that sounds really fantastic. We did have a GT Masters race today and it was fantastic. One of the cars caught fire. Did you hear about that?
No, because after the race I only had interviews and eat something. Now we have a taxi ride, so the day is very stressful.
Well, I'm gonna leave you to it. Have fun.
You.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And hope to see more of you in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm here with Andreas Klinger, the manager of the ADAC TCR racing team here in Germany. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about this team. How many people are there? How many people do you manage? And what's the regular racing season look like for you guys?
Okay, so our team consists out of 36 people here at the racetrack constantly, and each of the 7 races within the TCR Germany. We are coming from 7 different countries, so we're kind of an international team. People from Hungary, from Italy, from Germany, from Austria, and so on, from Denmark. And yeah, we are transporting all of that equipment every weekend, every race weekend from our location in southern Germany, in Wiggensbach and at the Allgäu, into here. Build it up. On Sundays we build everything down, pack it, and go back to the workshop.
So, what do you say would be your entire workforce? How many people are involved in, maintaining the car? How many engineers do you have? How many people who are working in the pit lanes do you have? What does the whole operation look like?
Oh, the operation looks kind that we have two main engineers responsible each for 2 cars. We have 4 car chiefs working on each car. We have 2 mechanics in addition to the car chiefs working on each car. We have a physiotherapist who is taking care of the drivers. We have people in the management like me and others. So all in all, we have tire people, very important because tires are basic because it's the only contact from the race car to the street or to the road or to the racetrack. And yeah, all in all, everyone has his task, and that's how it goes.
And a fun little question as well. What is your favorite Golf GTI? Which version and which production year? Like for me, I think the Clubsport S is probably the biggest and the best Golf GTI, but what's your personal favorite?
That's a tricky question, honestly said. So my first car was a Golf GTI, but that is already some 30 years ago. So I think it was a Golf 1 GTI, and with this I share a lot of precious memories. But in terms of racing, for sure, the current GTI is my favorite because the car is simply stunning.
Well, thank you so much, Andreas, and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
I'm here with a couple of guys who are the real men who work on the car. It's because of you guys that the car is able to do what it does. So maybe you can introduce yourselves a little bit?
I am Martin Sava from Hungary. I work with the team since 2 years now, but working in motorsport like 15 years in many categories, like from karting to touring car, Formula car, everything.
Fantastic. And you?
My name is Rocco Fuda. I do the engineering on this car. I'm doing motorsport since I think 85, 86, and I have done many different series, many different cars. And since I think around 10 years, I work now together with Sangster Motorsport.
Fantastic. So of course, this car is very much different than the series production GTI that you and I can go and buy in the showroom. So maybe you can give me some of the biggest changes and the biggest variations that this TCR GTI has as compared to a regular GTI on the road.
The engine, basically the engine is the same like the street car, just the computer, the software is different, and small things. So the engine can make 350 horsepower. The gearbox is different. There is a 6 gears sequential gearbox, so it's completely different than the road car. Of course, the dampers, the whole suspension is different, and the bodywork and the safety stuffs inside the car.
If you go to the safety stuffs, we have the roll cage inside. We have fire extinguisher equipment everywhere in the engine room, inside the room, everywhere. If we have a fire, we push a button and then will explode. Will come the powder. We have air jacks to lift the car fast and to get the car down fast. Other difference, the car is much more wider. The aerodynamic is much more different than the standard car. And although I think also the brake, we have different brakes, bigger brakes, other brand of brakes. Yeah, I think also some more small things, but the biggest things are this.
Fantastic. So what does your regular maintenance routine on this car look like? So before this race starts, what are the things you do to prepare the car? And during the pit stop, for example, what are the key things that you always check before the car goes back on the track? And in between races, like right now, what is being done to the car to prepare it and to get it ready for the next race?
So between 2 racing events, we of course check everything, like every bolts, everything is not cracked or that stuff, and change the gearbox oil, the engine oil, and make the setup for the wheels, so for the alignment. and between the races or the sessions, also we make a spanner check in the bolts, and if need, make setup or change springs, and that's it. And for example, now we have more work because the car is crashed, so a little bit have to work more.
I think the biggest work on the race car is between the two races is if you have a crash. This is always the biggest work. If not, the standard work is check everything. Check all the balls are tight, all the ball joints are not getting loose. Everything on the car you have to check every time after the car come to the pit. Then we check the tire, the condition of the tire, condition of the brake. If you have to change brake, we bleed the brakes because the brakes getting very hot. So there is some humidity in the brake fluid and some bit air. So we have to bleed every time. If necessary, sure, we change the brake pads, and at last we do the setup. If the car was good in the first race, we try to keep the same setup. If the car has some problem on the track, so we think about what we can change on the setup for get a better car.
Well, and one last quick question. How much is one car worth? Money, in terms of money, how do you have an idea? Can you tell me?
Is around 100,000 euro.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I know you guys do a lot of important work. I learned a lot, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Too much of chit-chat, little less talk, and a lot more action. That's the way I live. So let's jump into the GTI TCR race car and take a taxi lap on the Hockenheimring. Okay, so I'm taking a taxi lap in the Golf GTI TCR on the Hockenheimring racetrack. Wow. Well, it's not my first time on the track, nor is it my first time being driven around in the track. It was at this point that I realized that I couldn't even hear myself talking, so I probably shouldn't keep trying to do a narration. So let me just talk about it right now. The TCR GTI was so fast. It was fantastic. And it has 350 horsepower. Of course, it's built to be fast. It's built to be a race car, and it does that really well. One of the most important things that I noticed is how to handle the acceleration and how to handle the braking. Like, the driver was braking so late and easing into the throttle around the corner and not just flooring it, because, you know, traction control and ABS are set very differently, or, you know, it depends on the regulations for these kind of cars. But it just goes to show that even if it's just 350 horsepower and it's the same Golf chassis, it's such a capable chassis, and, you know, cars like the Clubsport S really take the road car to such an extreme level that it really is a race car for the road. Behind me, you see the GT Masters cars getting lined up and ready for the final race of the season. And I just can't stand it anymore. I have to drive, I have to race, I want to get on the racetrack. Do you guys want to do it as well? How about we go over there and steal one of those cars? Let's see if we can do that. Oh wait, I have a better idea. Well, the next best thing to driving on the track is driving in a simulator. But we did get to drive on the track in another event, so if you're interested in watching that, make sure you check out our Alfa Romeo Stelvio versus Giulia Quadrifoglio video as well. But anyway, Sitting beside me, many of you might not recognize him, but this is Jonas. He's our creative cameraman and producer. So he's my teammate for this event. Jonas, say hi.
Hi guys.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Jonas doesn't have a driver's license, but can he beat me in the simulator? Let's find out.
Okay, I would say it was a easy race, right? I almost got the first place, and you?
I almost got...
You're still in the mud.
I'm still stuck in the gravel trap, so... Well, you know, I guess it's just beginner's luck, Jonas. That's all I can say.
I would say I'm clearly the better driver and a better reporter also, right?
Perhaps. What do you guys think? Put it down in the comments below. I had a great time at the ADAC GT Masters race weekend here at the Hockenheimring racetrack. I just love the race weekend. There's so much of electricity in the air, fast cars, loud engines, burning rubber, smell of petrol, all the excitement and the adrenaline. It really is a great place to be and a great way to spend the weekend. We learned so much about what goes behind the scenes at a racing team, especially in terms of the Golf TCR racing team, and also what it takes to be a race car driver and all the engineering and the maintenance and all the mechanical bits that go into making a race car. I learned a lot. It's always exciting. Hope to come here next time, and I hope you guys will join me then as well. See you next time.